we are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you're listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, RA's co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom. Back east, producing Danny Otto. What's up, fellas?
What up?
Friday, December
Morning.
21st. Almost the end of the week. And then next week is Christmas and fight week.
Christmas and fight week. It
Yeah.
snuck up on us.
And right after that, New Year's.
It does, man. The UFC schedule at the back half, man. It runs you right to Christmas.
Yeah.
This sport suffocates you. It steals your soul. So you either got to love it or just, be in for a long ride. I mean, it's a fun ride, but there are some trying times, and it's when you look at the calendar and go, oh, I missed this birthday, I missed that, I missed so-and-so's graduation, because we're so consumed with such a hectic schedule. Not only the UFC and their 40-plus shows, Bellator and their 25-plus shows, and I think I'm being kind. I think it's actually closer to 45 and 25, toss in the PFL and everything else that comes with it. Because, it's not like we're shying away from Canelo and Deontay Wilder and the occasional, lion fight or submission grapple. It's just everywhere. And then oh my God, don't get me started. Dana White, Contender Series. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like it's a lot, Vatos.
I like the fact that John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson have done, well, more Gustafsson media. It's kind of got me going for that type of fight. And then you see, Amanda Nunes and Cyborg. I don't know. I'm a little bit fired up for these fights now. That I really. It's not that I wasn't before. It was just kind of like, let me know when they get here. Now I feel like they got here.
Yeah, they're here. They're, like I said, I was feeling that. I wanted to get into the frame of mind early, and then when we started to go over the card, remember I told you this card is quietly a nice, solid card. Let's observe, and then we went through the names. By then, I was already in. And then, of course, the conference call yesterday, the ladies kind of went at it a little bit. And Jones and Alex will have something to say every day leading up to the fight. So that's a great start right there. Now, the others, whether they chime in or not, whether Embedded's on fire or not, I'm already vested in. I can't wait.
Even that little VADA controversy, I was thinking about it. Had Jones said, all right, let's do it, there would be about half as much stuff about that fight out right now than there is. But because he declined it, there's so many opinions out there in social media of why he should have done it, why he shouldn't have, why it's cool that he doesn't give a shit. Like, there's so many things out there now that I started thinking about it. I go, man, that might have actually worked out in his favor.
Yeah.
Got me reading stuff.
And I don't think he intended to do it. I think that's just the way John rolls. But who knows?
That's how he does it, baby.
Who knows? Only he knows. Only they know. But I know the fight's going through, and it's not like he's not going to be tested, folks. So even the harshest critic.
But it doesn't carry the same value now. That's the problem.
Just know
that's
that.
What's so stupid.
Hey, don't forget, USADA was on the verge of going 4 years, Puto, except he did the whole, hey, I'll feed you some info deal, allegedly. Or I guess it's not even alleged. I think it's pretty much there. And That's the agreement they came to. Look, I'll assist when I need to. Others are calling him a straight-out rat. Others are going, well, he's assisting. He's being a good citizen. He's trying to help clean up the sport. However you want to say it. But USADA was ready to smoke him there, and therefore he can't mess around with USADA this time going around. Cash your tickets quick, folks. If somebody wins, don't wait a few days, man. If something happens, it gets overturned, and I don't know how quick these guys, all these sports books. I don't know how quick they are to say, oh, hey, it's no longer a W. Stop paying. It's a no contest, which is like a draw. I guess you get your money back. But
please remind me to get your guys's. I want to go back to the whole rat, snitch, just that type of word. I had a little bit of a debate with some friends about it, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on that.
Danny, the producer, can you give us an update?
The update is you have not sent me the phone number.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
Oh, it didn't go through? Okay. All right.
No.
I apologize.
So then I'll start talking.
All right. Go ahead, Goes.
And
go ahead.
Danny, I just sent you a message, so I think that might have explained it a little bit. Here's what I don't understand. By the way, our site coordinator, Randy, is here as well, so you can chime in on this. When somebody says, if you ever look online or something and somebody goes, hey, everybody, there's a DUI checkpoint at blah, blah, blah. I see a lot of people respond and go, oh, dude, thanks for the heads up.
Yep.
But then I think about it. Isn't that somebody's way of saying, hey, all you drunk drivers out there, want to not get caught and continue to drive drunk? Don't go down this street. Go be a drunk guy and drive over here instead.
It's a little bit of that, but there's also a little bit of the, hey, if you happen to have an empty stomach and had a few drinks where normally you're not drunk and you don't want to get punked by .1 and destroy your life and not be able to take your kids to school tomorrow and have your license taken away and blah, 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 possibly be fired, I'm looking out for you. Versus, you're right, someone that's completely demolished and should not be behind the wheel, fuck those people. But what are you going to do? You're not going to send a tweet and say, hey, isolate the ones that really, really are on the verge of making a mistake that they would never make. Versus the ones that abuse it every day.
I don't know how to look at it, man. Because all it takes is one dummy.
Send the tweet.
Send the tweet to tell your friend?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Send the tweet. I promise you. That's just if someone got away with it, hey, if they're that demolished, then more than likely they'll get caught on the next one. But you might be saving a buddy.
Wouldn't you rather save a life? Even if it's not one of your friends or someone?
No, I start with my family and friends first, then I protect them.
That's weird.
Versus the public or whatever.
I guess.
Hell, they're alive. I may be saving their life, and also I don't know. Yeah, we'll debate it later. We got our guest ready to go. His name is Anthony Rocco Martin, and he got a win over Jake Matthews at UFC Fight Night 142, which took place in Adelaide. I think I've been calling it Adelaide. Or Marmalade or something. Adelaide, Australia. A few weeks ago, he joins us now on the hotline. What's up, my man? How you doing? Congrats on your win.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. What are we going with? Rocco? Straight Rocco? Or you like the Anthony Rocco Martin?
Yeah, just go with Rocco.
Rocco?
Yeah, just go with straight Rocco. They kept calling me Rocco Martin, but it's just Rocco.
I like it, Rocco. You went out there and rocked the house, man. In fact, you've been doing that. You've been doing that these last few fights. And Jake Matthews is a tough customer. You beat him on his home turf. So that I don't want to count it as 2 wins, but it was a great statement win for you.
No, yeah, it was huge. I mean, I feel like I'm just coming into my zone now. So I think, I'm ready for the next test. And, Jake was tough, but I'm ready for the next one.
And what I like, Rocco, is when somebody wins and we're all, just like you said, waiting for the next test, anticipating the next test. We're waiting for that tweet to come out that says Anthony Rocco Martin versus fill in the blank at so-and-so location. And you see what I'm saying? It's like you took it to another level, and now I think you're an established fighter that people are going to look forward to watching and eventually paying for if you keep it up.
Yeah, no, honestly, I just feel it's just my time now. I think that, my skill set is where I'm at the point now where I feel like I can fight anyone in the world, and I feel like the competition needs to keep stepping up, and I think it'll just keep bringing out the best of me.
So you wound up rolling the dice, we heard, and fighting out your contract. Did Did it wind up being a lot more lucrative because of that big win and the fact that I guess you had a little bit of leverage? Hey, you never know. I can go in another route. So were you able to get what you wanted?
No, so honestly, last year was a huge year for me. So last year it went from, I beat Nakamura to where Sean Shelby told us kind of pretty much, if I went out and won my next 2 fights, it didn't matter. They weren't re-signing me. So then I had to go out there. I dominated the last 2 fights, and I gave Sean Shelby no choice but to re-sign me. So last year was a huge year, and 2019 is going to be even bigger.
I was going to say 2018. That's a year you'll never forget. What's another big year that you've had that you remember in MMA that may not measure up to this year, but that stands out for you?
Yeah, honestly, I think 2018 was definitely far superior to the rest. But honestly, I haven't had many big years. I feel like getting signed in the UFC was kind of big, but I've never dreamt of being in the UFC. I've only dreamt of being UFC champion. So now I feel like it's my time. I think that the move up to 170 has been great for me, and I'm just ready to really just separate myself from these up-and-comers and become a true contender.
We're talking to Rocco, the winner from the UFC 142 Fight Night card out in Adelaide, Australia, over Jake Matthews. Let me send it over to the guys here. Goes. What do you have for Rocco?
I like what Rocco's talking about as far as stepping up in competition and making your ways through those rankings. Because the one thing I thought about you was having this streak that you have right now. There's times where we've had certain people show up, and because of the matchmaking and the route that they're taking, sometimes they get stuck with like these 8-fight win streaks, 7-fight win streaks, which is really hard to do, and they're still not even really close to a title shot. And so what I wanted to ask you, Rocco, was for the next fight, what do you think can happen? Like, what is the type of level? Can you give us like an example of a matchup that you feel like will make you give that significant jump, so that you don't become one of these guys with like an 8-fight win streak or anything like that?
The most important thing, obviously, in the UFC right now isn't the win streak anymore. They love finishes, and it's kind of, if you just go out there and you finish people and maybe have some crazy antics inside the cage or whatnot, is for some reason the UFC loves that, and they're willing to jump the pack by just having those finishes and exciting fights over someone that's just dominant and just winning fights by decision over and over. So obviously I'm just going to be looking for the finish. I think that the key to jumping the pack and really getting in that top 5 contender is you just got to finish guys, and I think the UFC loves promoting those guys, and so that's kind of my game plan, is just whoever it is I just have to finish. That's the key. That's what got me the new contract, was just finishing the last 2 fights, and so that's my only objective, is to finish next fight.
With that new contract, when you guys did have that discussion, did you ever allude back to that moment where they had told you even if you won, you wouldn't get a contract? Did you ever kind of say like, well, what do you think now? Like, have I changed anything in your eyes?
I mean, I didn't have to ask it. Obviously, we were at the negotiations, so I knew that a lot of things had changed. Because before they were saying if it was even a ranked guy and I won, that they weren't re-signing me. So, like I said, I forced their hand, and they sent me a new contract. I'm happy with it, but obviously I want to go out there and I just need to dominate these next few fights and really, again, force their hand. And, I felt like my back was against the wall. I feel like I fight my best when I feel like there's more pressure on there. I love the pressure, and I'm just going to keep trying to perform.
All right, DT, what do you have for Rocco?
Hey, Rocco. First off, man, I got to say, I think Israel Adesanya is probably going to be locked in for Breakout Fighter of the Year, but I think people should mention your name, because usually Breakout Fighter of the Year is someone that's kind of making their way into the scene, but you've been around for a minute, but if people have been paying attention, you've really turned into a different fighter. Now, I'm going to take my medicine here, Tony. I've been on the wrong side of picking you a couple times now, man, but not only have you've proven, dummies like me and the media wrong and fans and stuff that, fighters got to go through normally, but you alluded to it yourself. You were facing some static even from matchmakers who used some descriptors that I don't believe were fair to your style. You got the new contract, sure, but what's the relationship like now with Sean? Did the performances speak for themselves as they should have?
I think that he's still a little hesitant. I don't know if he just thinks that those were just I was trying to fight different because he knew that I knew they didn't want to re-sign me, so I was trying to fight different. But that's just the way. Now, like I said, I'm 29. I've been in the sport now going on 7 years, and I'm just coming into my skills. I'm down on an American top team training with the best guys, best coaches, and they all see what I can do. And then they've been shocked. Mike Brown's told me multiple times he's been shocked at, seeing what I could do in the gym and that I've lost fights in the past. But, a lot of that I attribute to the weight cut. I think the weight cut was killing me. And now that move up to 170, I'm not that big, but I'm just not having to worry about the weight cut anymore, and I can just worry about fighting. And I really think that, I'm an elite level fighter, and I just got to, do some tweaks from my last fight, but I think that, I've definitely made the right strides forward, and I plan on having a, definitely being out the breakout fighter of 2019.
I'm glad you pointed to that and talked about the weight cut. I know you've talked about it with us here at Junkie before in regards to acid reflux and other stuff that I've had on a personal deal with myself. Thankfully, I'm not a professional fighter like you, so that explains a lot. Because I was going to say if I'm being critical, or hopefully if the matchmakers are being critical and really looking at your performances, where you came up short, aside from what you're saying, from an outsider perspective who didn't know that, Rocco, it almost looked like, okay, well maybe he's having trouble against the bigger guys who actually can grapple with them, can maybe get some top pressure. But then you go, and not only are you submitting like black belts early on in your career, you're getting past guys like Keita Nakamura who are deceptively tough. You're getting your first knockout win over the biggest welterweight, biggest guy you've actually faced on your resume. You go ahead and you knock him out. And then with Jake Matthews, what was interesting is both you guys were really similar. Both you guys, submitted black belts before on your way up, or recently kind of earned your black belt while in the UFC, and then you go ahead and you submit that guy too. So hopefully they're looking at your performances critically, because that's what I like to see the most is fighters kind of just shove the stereotypes in the face, showing, hey, I've shored up these holes and I'm a more complete fighter now.
No, especially, and I think that both those finishes were third round. I think that I feel like I'm getting stronger. I feel like I've given up the last two fights. The first round I've lost, but I feel like I'm starting to win the second round, and the third round is when I'm finishing them. I think that you can just tell that physically, I can hang with these guys. And like you said, Ryan LaFleur was one of the bigger guys in the division. And, I held up fine. My cardio was great. And physically, I just felt like I was wearing them down.
Yo, Rocco, are you going to give us 3 fights in 2019? What kind of a schedule you want to keep up?
No, I'm definitely looking for 3 or 4. I think that, we've been having a little bit of talks about March 9th here. So we'll see if that gets locked in. But so March 9th will be the first fight in 2019, and then I'm planning. I told them I moved up to 170 for one reason, and that's to stay busy. So whoever they want, I just want to keep climbing the ladder and fight the top guys in the world. That's kind of my dream, is to be a UFC world champion, and I got to fight the best guys in the world for that.
So I'm trying to look here. My internet's slow, but is that the card in Vegas, the pay-per-view, or is that another card?
No, I think they were talking about Wichita, Kansas. But like I said, nothing's locked in. We're just kind of talking about it a little bit, because I'm always messaging Sean right after my fights. I tell him I'm taking time off, but then 1 week later I'm trying to lock a fight in.
They throwing any names around at you? You want to break some news?
Nah, they're throwing some names, but no one's. They haven't okayed anyone yet. There's been just like they've thrown out some names, but nothing's locked in.
All right.
No, not top 15 yet though. So I kind of told if I finish this next fight that I should be fighting someone in the top 15 after that.
Well, hopefully you're going to get at least like if you don't get a ranked opponent, like you said, top 15. I'd like to see a co-main event or something that profiles you, because like I said, I think you took another step, and everybody knows your name. Everybody was talking about you coming out of that fight card. Dos Santos got love. Big Pretty, but a lot of people were talking about Rocco on Twitter, so I think you deserve that, and hopefully that new contract, you got Ali kind of, kicking down doors for you. I don't know. That's what I would hope for you.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think I'm ready for that. I think that, coming with a bigger showing for myself to show the fans, truly who I am, and to get to really meet me and see what I'm really about is highly important, obviously, with getting bigger fights as well. So that'd be, that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to.
What was more stressful, by the way? I mean, you weren't. I don't think you went to war. I think you sent Ali into the battle room. But was that stressful or the fight?
No, I mean, honestly, I put so much pressure on myself just winning fights. And I truly believe in my ability, though, as being a top-level fighter. I train harder than everyone else, I feel like, and so really, I've always said I can only control what I can control. I can't control what the UFC decides. I can't control Sean Shelby or what's going on in those negotiation rooms. But what I can do is I can go out there and perform in my fight. I can control how I train and get ready and prepare. And honestly, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep getting better. And I feel like, these next 2-3 years are very big in my career. And I think that, no one's seen the best of me. I just need, that competition brings out the best in me. I think that, me and my girlfriend Kayla, all we do is compete all the time. And it's worked out where, we're very, very competitive, but it's worked out really well for both of us where we push each other in the gym, at home, and everything in life.
We had her on the show earlier this week, and I think she was saying that, right, guys?
Yeah.
Even when she plays I don't know if it's board games or something.
Cards,
I think she said. Yeah, she says she's pretty competitive. So, yeah, you have your work cut out in and out of the gym when it comes to competition.
Yeah, no, it's nonstop. Some people, I think, would get drained from where, we go right from the gym back home and we shower and then we're right to games all day. She has a tendency we both have tendencies when we lose that we need to leave the house. We can't see each other, we can't talk to each other for a little bit. But it's complete chaos at times. But I don't know what it is. Like, we just can't stop competing. But I think, honestly, that in our personal life and professional careers, that it's going to bring out the best in us.
Yeah. But,
we're just going to take down the world one fight at a time.
Good thing you're not a gambler, Rocco, because I could see you throwing a brick through your TV if you didn't cover the spread or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see. That's the thing is that's why I can't live in Vegas. Cause I would gamble, but I do gamble a lot, too much. But I just I try to just make friendly bets and more like we do. Me and her bet all the time, but we can't do anytime push-ups. But I won't remind her because she's got a couple anytime on me right now.
What's the last MMA bet you made?
The last one was the Ryan LaFleur bets.
Oh, okay.
So when I was in Vegas for that Ryan LaFleur bet, I was doing some parlays and I was betting on myself.
There you go.
I ended up winning a lot of money, so it was a really good night.
That's
awesome.
And I want the audience to know, by the way, it is legal for fighters to bet on themselves. It's been pointed out by Mark Ratner. You just cannot bet against yourself, which is pretty obvious, but I think we have new listeners to the show all the time, so I wanted to make sure that didn't go anywhere. But hey, Tony, man, this is pretty cool talking to you, and you seem like in a great state of mind. I hope you have a great Christmas or whatever you celebrate, and along with a safe New Year, and really, really hope the best for you in 2019, my man.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I appreciate having me on, and like you said, have a good Christmas and New Year.
I guess you're going to be going to New York. Yeah, that's where you're spending New Year's, right?
Yeah, we're gonna, Kayla's gonna go take this girl out, and then
you're gonna go to Times Square.
Maybe go see the. That's kind of, that's the idea about her. It's very chaotic, but we'll see how how much she wants to celebrate afterwards. But I'm sure we're gonna be running around New York.
Right on, my man. Well, have fun with that. And, again, thanks for the time here on MMA. No, Rocco, one more thing. You had a really cool tweet towards Ali Abdelaziz. We talked about the contract negotiation. He's a frequent guest of ours, but I wanted you to talk about that because I see online Ali, catches flack from time to time, and I would like his athletes to also plug the work that he does because he has become one of the big names in our sport in regards, to being an agent for so many fighters. But tell me about that process and, how it was knowing that he was going to bat for you and how happy you were with the result.
Yeah, no, honestly, so I met Ali through Kayla, and ever since I've seen him working around the PFL for all his guys, and I was just seeing how he hustles. He's running around. He's flying from every single fight. He's at all the fights. He's in everyone's in the back helping everyone. I just see how much time he puts in, and that kind of like changed my perspective on management, where I was just like, this guy's really grinding hard, and he's just one of those guys that if he believes in you, he's willing to go down. He's willing to fight, claw to claw, like try to kill you over something like that, and I respected that. I think that that's how you should feel. That if you're making money off a guy, or you want the best for them and you want the best for yourself, and you need to be willing to truly believe in them and to give 100%. And that's one of those guys that he'll kill for you once he believes in you. So that's someone you want in your corner.
Very good. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Tony, for the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right,
guys.
we'll see you.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
one.
Did I slip up at the end and call him Tony?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I was batting 1,000 with the Rocco. I really like calling him Rocco.
Yeah?
He's Rocco, man.
Well, you did the Rocky Rocco.
And then I blew it there at the end. I said Tony. Shit. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rocco. Thanks to Puna for lighting that one up. Rocco went out of his way to plug Ali, and that's why I did that.
Mm-hmm.
This sport is ruthless, especially online, and I know he's taken some big shots, but you cannot deny that guy has not, as of late, been producing great results for his fighters.
Yeah.
Which means, and he's a big part of MMA. I'm telling you, if we had the USA Today 25 most powerful people, Ali would be on that list.
Pretty close to the top, I would imagine. If you look at the stable.
Yeah, I'd have to break it down how it went down last time, but I remember we were like promoter heavy with Dana, Bjorn, the Fertitas. I know we were TV executive heavy. But I remember Ed Soares had made an appearance. At the time, he had the Nogueiras, Spider, Silva, Feijão, a few others. And I can't remember if a second agent might have made that list or not. But I'm telling you, he, is he cornering a champion every single weekend or not? I mean, every single pay-per-view? He's involved somehow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of his guys and gals are very happy with his work. And so, like I say, he's part of the sport. So is Audie and the work he's done with Conor McGregor and Tony Ferguson and Michael Bisping and the rest. I feel like Malky Kawa is another guy, big name. You saw how he kind of orchestrated the Demetrius Ben Askren trade. Brian Butler's been a name for many years in the sport. He's got world champions. He kind of sometimes I think gets cast aside, but let's not forget Rose.
He had Joanna back in the day.
Lima. He had Joanna back in the day. That's right. Douglas Lima, champion over at Bellator. He had Pat Curran when he was a champion.
Carla was a champion.
Max Holloway. Carla, yeah. So he's actually stockpiled some champions as well. And I don't know that that's the mark of a good agent. I mean, if you're just a guy that can go out there and make the deal, you can't control whether the guys or gals win or not. But still, he's associating himself with some people that are out there and they're doing great things in the sport. So if we had that list, I'm wondering if those four would would crack that.
25.
Yeah.
There's more organizations now too. More of the big networks involved. So that list would be pretty fun. More matchmakers, right? I think the first time we did it, it was just Joe at the time, right?
It was Joe and maybe Sean had already kind of come over. So I think we may have had them standing back to back. And in that magazine, I think it was Ben Folks did an interview with Joe and Sean. And the reason that's of note is because Joe, I want to say around 2005, he never did an interview after that. And we actually got him to do one. And he we
used to get Sean in here all the time too.
Yeah. We got him to do that one for that. So I think they had to go the route of special permission and everything. But he actually said a few things. Now, don't count the one where, I forget all the names. The exchange, the countdown. But when Anik sometimes sits with both guys.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call that necessarily an interview. But I know Ben sat down, and it wasn't extensive or anything. But still, they talked. Joe assisted with having Sean on. I don't know if you guys ever knew this or not, but when Sean Shelby was in our studio, we got him when his contract was being signed with WEC.
Oh, wow.
And Joe knew that once he would become a UFC matchmaker, the contract would not allow him to come over. So he suggested that if that's something we were going to do it soon, and we did. And Sean came to our studio, and we sat with him and asked him, matchmaking 101 questions and everything. But he's somebody we'll never be able to get unless they change their policy. But usually Dana White does it all. Actually, that one guy, Joe, boy, I forgot his name. Remember there was an executive that came in here once, a UFC executive who's no longer there. He's now part of Surf and Skate.
Yeah.
Fuck, what's his name?
The guy with the kind of like not long hair but longer hair.
Dating the ring card girl for a while.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Somebody? Nobody?
Start with an L?
Randy? No. Well, her name, yeah, Luciana. He dated her. It was public, and his name was. All right. Well, you guys were gonna say something. I'll look it up. Go ahead.
Hey, how about Wichita, huh? Better make sure them travel arrangements are spot on, because train don't run out of Wichita unless you're a hog or a cattle.
I was gonna say, WEC, that must have been a fun organization to matchmake. It feels like you just throw a dart against the wall and feel like you get a good matchup there.
WEC?
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. WEC had some wars, and even like
I've said that before, Dan. Where I always wondered if people would think I was a dick. I actually don't think it's the hardest job. I think the hardest job is the firing. Well, here's when somebody calls you and goes, my foot's broke. What can you do? Other than sit down with Dana and the other matchmaker and go, what do we do? Who's available? Start making some calls.
You don't think matchmaking's a hard job?
No, and I was told this by a matchmaker, so I'll keep it at that. It's actually pretty easy. It's just, it's the firing that's difficult. Having to hear people going, man, you're crushing me, or whatever. It's the firing that's difficult. It's getting people in before their contracts are going to expire. But a lot of times
you're saying the actual matchmaking versus I'm talking about the job. Don't say that the job isn't.
I guess it's what you make of it.
Being able to turn this off.
I talked to one of the top dogs, and he just told me, he goes, I mean, think about it. If I just go top 15 lightweights, pick two names. You pick one, Dan.
Top 15 lightweights?
Yeah.
Paul Felder.
Jeremy Stevens.
Huh?
Jeremy Stevens.
No, he's a featherweight.
Oh, sorry. Top. Just anybody random?
Yeah.
Why can't I think of any right now?
A lightweight. I don't know.
All right. Oh shit! He just moved up. Kevin Lee.
We have a fight. Is that not a good fight?
No, it has to make sense.
Right, but the actual audience,
the
actual audience that pays and all that, they don't know all that. Us hardcores can sift through it and go, well, wait a minute. Felder, he's here and Lee's ranked here, and would they fight and blah, blah, blah. But if you throw them in there, you're going to get a good fight. Rarely do you boo, the matchmaking was off. The fight usually turns out one way or another.
But what about
if one guy smashes the other, that guy's actually put over. And if it's a barn burner, then they're splitting a bonus. But the actual act of just throwing two guys in there and saying, yeah.
What about the phone call from ESPN? No, that doesn't work. We specifically asked for this specific guy on this card, or that's a Fox guy, or we want to showcase this guy in Brazil. Dude, that's got to be a nightmare of a job. Are you crazy?
That's what I was told.
And it never turns off your phone. You can never have it off. All right, the three of us were matchmakers, and we're all having a fun old time out in who knows where, Amsterdam.
Which are you
and then there's nothing in it. All of a sudden, something happens, and now we have to stop having a good time, and we got to put out a fire. And that can happen at any time. Middle of the night, it doesn't matter.
But I don't think
you're getting a call from Poland.
You're making it sound like every night they're getting a call from Poland. Every night they're getting a call at 2 a.m. He doesn't have to answer it though.
Yeah, you do. It's your job. Why wouldn't you answer it?
Yeah,
because you can answer it at 8 a.m.
No, you can't.
Why not?
Was this matchmaker?
You have stuff to answer to.
Was this matchmaker good at his job?
So you're saying he just never slept?
I'm not saying it happens every single day, but it probably happens enough where, like, okay.
A matchmaker told me it's easy.
I know, man, but okay.
A high-level matchmaker told me it's easy.
I heard a story once of a call that was taken at a horrific time because it had to do with something that was happening in China. All right, and it was big. It was a main event. I mean, like from that moment on, you can't just reschedule
I believe you, though. I believe you. That happened.
That's stress.
In China, it was a call, and that's it. But the next day, there wasn't a call from China, nor the day after, nor the day after.
It doesn't just, you don't fix things like that. I'm sure it took a while to get that back on track.
I don't know. That's just what I was told. It's actually
write the
easier.
name down.
It was actually easier than people think. It's the firing that's difficult, and it's just trying to make sure you get them within those contracts. Like, they'll sign 6 fights, 40 months. It's like the most odd number, right? or 4 fights in 2 years. And then when you realize, oh, I got to get him his fight, and then you have other fighters going, hey, I haven't fought in 6 months. Yeah, hey, that's just the way it is. I mean, I think they became callous to it all, and they at first it was like, bro, I'm with you. I know, man, it's tough letting you go. Yeah, it sucks. I can't get you that fight. But I think at some point they're like, that's the business. I'm sorry. Hang up. That's it. They became like more driven or narrow-minded, like more business-like, I guess.
All right.
Mind if I give my opinion, so I don't get tied to one of you guys? Since I'm the one that brought it up. I didn't mean that as a negative thing.
What?
As far as throwing a dart as far as the WEC or demeaning Sean Shelby or matchmaker. Didn't mean to spark that off, but I did feel that was more of a compliment to the WEC as far as my comment toward that goes, and as far as the heated argument which I'm enjoying between you guys right now. I gotta say, yeah, I think it's a tough job. I guess I side more on the side of Goes in that sense for the reasons he said, and then even just taking the matchmaking thing in particular, I think even if it's there's a lot of matchmakers for different organizations I respect. For sure, but I think it's it's like someone explained to me about tattooing. A lot of jobs around art, even martial arts. Maybe this can apply. It's as hard as you want to make it. You could be a tattoo artist that just kind of works at your own pace and does your thing. You can still make your bills. You still can put on your taxes that you are a tattoo artist at the end of the year. But how good of a tattoo artist? How much art? How much quality art did you produce this year as opposed to last year? And if you want to be critical on yourself, I think that. Now we're just having an argument as far as work ethics, but the job, it is important as far as matchmaking goes. I know we'll keep it quick. We're going to go to commercial, but yeah, I could go on. It's super important, especially in this day and age, and it's tough because even though as important as it is, I feel like I've been letting off the gas as far as criticizing the matchmakers because they're dealing with the schedule that we're dealing with. It affects all our jobs differently depending on what beat you're on, and sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to put this together, and we're sitting there criticizing them, but really it was their only choice. I think there's a lot of that today.
The UFC has the luxury of like 600 fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Varner told me it was difficult, but then once he got a handle of it, when he did SEC, he said it was starting to go a little bit easier because it was tougher to plug in with their budget. They had more constraints. But the UFC kind of has no budget. You know what I mean? Like they can do whatever it needs. Oh shit! We lost John Jones. Fuck it. Anderson Silva, what's he doing? Get him over here on 48 notice. Tack a couple zeros on, and we'll get him to do it. A lot of problems can be solved that way, but. Joe Silva used to do winners versus winners, losers versus losers. Now it's a little bit of a different game, but we better go to break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93.
We're going to stay talking about this, though, right?
And we'll be right back.
This one's George, and that one's Goes. Now, feel their wrath.
It's Fantasy Football Championship Week, and Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win. Listen to the best fantasy football experts for news, strategy, and advice to set a winning lineup. And if you've already been eliminated, listen for more ways to invest in the games you love on Fantasy Sports Radio, Series 210 XM87, streaming on your phone and at home on connected devices and speakers. All right, guys, Siyar the Great is up next. I'm talking about Siyar Bahadurzada, who will be fighting next week at UFC 232 versus Curtis Millender. He joins us now on the hotline. What's up, Siyar the Great? How you doing?
What's up, Gorgeous George? How are you?
Good, and you?
Good, thank you.
All right, my man. This is the happiest time of year, and I'm not talking about the holidays. It's fight time for you. You were born to do this, brother.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Especially if you have had a great camp, a long, great camp, without any injuries, without any sicknesses. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to make it through the camp because everybody knows that's the hardest part, right?
Yep.
And actually, I'm starting to get in a holidays mood and happy mood also because I'm healthy and got out of camp without any big injuries and anything.
Mm-hmm.
But also, man, it's been such a long time since my last fight. I say such a long time because since I finished my last fight, I went to see family for a week, and then I came back right to camp to get better. And I started working with Coach Wink and Coach Greg Jackson.
Right.
And man, I'm on different level. I've been in camp for 8 months now.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, and this will be your second fight in 2018, and even going back to last year, 2017. You know, considering what you went through from 2013 to 2016, you're starting to pick up the pace. And I imagine that in 2019, you know, maybe we'll even see more of Siyar the Great. But I just, you know, you've been doing this for a long time. You know, we followed your career for a long time, you know, even before the UFC through Glory. And I feel like UFC fans still haven't really gotten to see Siyar go to work. You know what I mean? Just because of the lulls in between in between your fights.
Absolutely. It's also because of the streak of injuries that I've had and streak of tough luck with sicknesses that I've had. But finally, I got to deal with them. I learned how to deal with them, and I learned how to avoid them. So at some point, we have to, right? I have I have the experience now, and I have the knowledge of avoiding them. And ever since I took a step back, and I thought, okay, I've done this thing all this time like this, and I've only had injuries, and I've had terrible time, got sick and everything. So these layoffs, these long layoffs, made me actually think really deep. What am I doing wrong, and what should I do? And that's exactly what I did. I came back. I feel much better than before. George, I can tell you, I didn't feel this good when I was 24. So now I'm at this age, I feel great. I just can't wait to shine on Saturday.
Yeah, man, we're looking forward to it. We've gotten to know Curtis as well. He's a SoCal guy, and that's where we're originally from. So I saw him through LFA, and then, of course, he debuted very nicely at the UFC. This is a great matchup, and I've been talking about how deep this card is. You guys are on Fight Pass, you know, but there's some really, really good fights there. So 232 is an amazing card, and you guys are quality welterweights, and I can't wait to see this fight.
Me neither, man. Me neither. And he has been running his mouth, and he's got to fall.
Oh, wow. I didn't notice that. What, like on social media?
Yeah, he did. He's been talking too much jive. Now he must fall in 5.
Oh,
and when I say 5, I don't mean round 5. I mean 5 minutes. I don't predict rounds. I predict minutes.
Okay. All right. We're joined by Siyar the Great Bahadurzada, who fights Curtis Millender at UFC 232 on December 29th. All right, Goes. What do you have for Siyar?
Okay, so the question I wanted to ask you has to do with momentum. And going back to your last fight, I remember this as clear as day. When they gave you the mic, just the look on your face, I remember thinking you could put anybody in front of him right now, and I bet you he would just fight the next guy. You just seemed like you were so ready to go. That momentum from back then, do you feel like you still carry it to right now, or does every matchup kind of create its own momentum?
That momentum, I overclassed that momentum that I had. in the cage. You know why? Because that's the moment when I realized, okay, now I'm back, and this is going to be fun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I kicked that guy in the belly and his liver, I knew he was going down, but I wouldn't just take a body shot. I wanted to put him out cold. So on the way out, I knocked him out on his body and on his head. I didn't want him to go down on his body and then recover and get back up and do it all over. No, I just wanted to be out completely cold. So when I hit him and I just went forward, my instinct, and I uppercut him on the way out.
Wow. And how often do you think about the champion and what your skill set looks like versus the champion? Break it down and just think about that particular matchup, because I know you have an opponent ahead of you, but it's human nature to kind of look at the top and wonder how you match up against them. How often do you think about the champion?
I think I actually I don't see me fight. I just feel like a champion. You know what I mean? As long as they come to fight and they stand and fight me, I don't think they can stop me. I don't think anybody can stop me. There's 15 minutes of fighting, and I have to connect just once in those 15 minutes. You know what I mean? One clean shot in those 15 minutes, and I will land a clean shot because I'm very accurate. So I'm excited, and I can't wait.
By the way, if you want to support CR, he's got a really, really cool T-shirt. You go to punishmentathletics.com. There's the link there that'll take you to CR's. It's different, right, guys? Are you checking this out right here? It says Siyar Bahadurzada, the best pound-for-pound heavy puncher in the game. But I like the way it's laid out. It's got CR's signature. It's just different from other T-shirts that I've seen. So check it out, folks. It's on his Twitter handle, if you didn't write all that down. And his Twitter handle is CRized, which is SIYARIZED. All right, Dan, Tom, what do you have for CR the Great?
You know, CR, when you say you're excited, I don't think that's hyperbole. I don't think you're saying that just to say that about this matchup with Melender. So let me ask you, the reason why I say that is because Curtis Melender, obviously he's a really good striker, but he's primarily a striker. But something tells me, CR, that you like those matchups because, one, for people that don't know, you've never been stopped by a strike because you have the chin. A lot of fighters are talented. Not all of them are as durable as you. Also, a lot of fighters are talented, CR, but not all of them have the attitude like you do. And to me, that's what stands out to me the most. Your warrior spirit and attitude. You're not just saying these things, you mean them. People know your life experiences and how you bring that adversity through in the cage beautifully, if you ask me. So let me ask you, do you prefer strikers with that in mind?
I absolutely prefer strikers for just one reason. People who come to watch us, they don't, like most people, they want to see blood and knockouts. And I want to give them their money worth. I want to excite them. I want them to stand up and clap for me when I knock somebody out. I want them to be excited. I want them to walk out of the arena, and my fight will be on their mind. Hey, do you remember that guy? You might not know my name because it's difficult, but they will know that knockout. They will talk about my knockout. That's what I want to leave people behind when I'm fighting. When they leave, they have to talk about my fight. That's how I want to be remembered. And just like you said, I think what I say what I think, and I do what I say. I wouldn't waste words if I didn't mean it. And most people, they think I'm trash talking or I'm saying this to promote the fight or anything. But that's not true. This is exactly how I feel, and this is exactly what I'm going to do when I say things. When I fought a 6'3" guy at middleweight in Holland, you see Rotterdam, I told him he will be out in 8 minutes. And he was out in 8 minutes. I just wanted to predict the minutes, not the round. And in around 5 minutes, a lot of things can happen in a round. But go out and predict the minutes. I predicted he will be down in 8 minutes, and I took him down in 8, and took him out in 8 minutes. So yes, I'm excited to come back and fight again after 8 months. And in these 8 months, I have been working really, really hard. I've wrestled every day. I've done jiu-jitsu every day. I've done striking. My game is on a whole new level. People will prepare for the Siyar that they saw the last fight or the fight before, but they will come to see a different me. And that's my entire mindset. I'll never fight 2 fights the same way. So let's see what happens.
I got you there. And one last quick one from me, Siyar. You know, you're one of the better people to ask about this. You fought in Holland, you fought in Japan, you fought in United States, and in these different places. And you talk about the appreciation of the show, the audience, being ingratiated by them. Any audiences particularly stand out? Obviously, each region of the world is different, but you know what I mean. There's differences at each place you go.
You know, the thing is that no matter where you fight, people love warriors. And people love fighters who put on knockouts and vicious fights. No matter the audience, wherever I fight, I have the audience. If I don't have them at the beginning of the fight, I'll definitely have them with me at the end of the fight. In Europe, if you see my last fight, everybody stood on their feet and was clapping for me when I finished the fight. And when I fought Paulo Thiago, I knocked him out. The entire Sweden stood on its feet and was watching my fight, and they clapped for me. And when I knocked out my last opponent in Atlantic City, same thing. People still were clapping for me. So I'm very happy with the audience. It's not the audience love the knockout artists, the people who show you something that you haven't seen before. Like they put on vicious knockouts and they give you your money worth. People love those type of fighters, and I want to deliver them that kind of excitement for their money.
CR, we're a little short on time, but hey, man, we'll probably see you next week here in Las Vegas. So thanks for joining us on today's MMA Junkie Radio Show, and we will talk to you soon, my man.
Thank you, man. Have a great day, guys.
All right, you too. All right, folks, that's Siyar Bahadurzada. We're going to take our last break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. All right, folks, it happens. We pile up the show at the very beginning, and we have to do these commercials and this quick top of the hour break. But this is the quick one, so we'll be back in about 60 seconds or so. Sometimes we say 40. Sometimes it's 60. Sometimes I can babble on and make it 30. No, I'm just kidding. We'll be back right at the top of the hour. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. We still got Justin Willis coming your way, UFC heavyweight, who's coming off a big win over Mark Hunt a few weeks ago. So stay close and don't touch that dial.
even now, like just hearing Christmas music, I feel like there's still one more week or something.
We had about 10 days taken away from us between our trip back east and then New York. Well, I guess that was back east too, but you know what I mean. The military trip parlayed with the other one. We were all gone for over a week. When you throw in the weekends and everything. That and I think at home, like, we're not really Christmassy this year. We don't have a tree, you know what I mean?
Well, you guys do?
We don't have one.
Yeah.
But you know what screwed me is Amazon being so dependent on shopping online that now, you know how now you can't do it because it's not going to get there in enough time. Like, I don't know, just my whole clock's been thrown off.
Same here. My clock's been thrown off for obvious reasons. Don't want to harp on them. But kind of what George said, though, like, yeah, I don't know. Like you guys said, you know, yeah, same here. Like I don't know. I have a hard time with the holidays in general. But I made a push last year, and it just nothing went good last year as far as holiday wise. So kind of just I tried to do the stockings thing and the dressing things up. Gifts were a dud. Family things were it just wasn't.
How are gifts duds?
Nothing went, huh?
Like your gifts or the ones you gave out?
The ones I gave out. You know, you're not happy. You're not happy with them before, after, or during the process. At one point of it, you're like,
I'm giving out duds this year. Last year, I gave out pretty decent gifts.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I could and wanted to. And this year, that trip set me back a little bit, you know. So I'm like, I think I'm just gonna be that guy, kind of like, Merry Christmas, but I don't want to hear what you got to say because you have every right to go. That's it. You know.
Well, here's my plan. You tell me what you guys think. What I'm going to do is I asked my mom. Usually I try to pitch in with the kids. I'm like, what's the big presents this year we're getting for the kids? I would usually throw in for that. But shoot, one just went to college this year. The other's in high school, you know, playing football, Logan. And then the young one, I'm going to try to get.
Logan too?
Yep. Oh, yeah. And the other youngest one, Bella, looks like a Bellamere in training kind of a thing. So I want to try to get her in the martial arts. But essentially, they're just giving them money. So I'm just going to join in on money. But here's what it is: I don't have very many people, and this is kind of a you guys are apropos to this. I have very many people that would be in my close circle, if you will. So my thing is, like, I'd rather just get someone dinner, like take them out to dinner or something. You're actually having to spend time with someone. If there's someone you care about, having that quality time. We're so busy, whether it's like, hey, Ma, this trip, or, you're kind of, even with parents, there's a certain, not business, but there's a, the pleasantries that must be exchanged. And I don't know how much time we actually, hey, take a breather, enjoy your parent, enjoy your, I was getting even emotional, having some time with my grandmother early in the week before Bellator Hawaii kicked off. I'm like, man, as much as I wanted to go eat my food spots, she was cooking stuff. I didn't even like half the things she was cooking, but I let her cook for me. And I sat there and I ate all of it because that's all she wanted to do. And she's not. You don't know how many of those I'm gonna get from her, or even from us. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We don't know how many more family experiences we have. So it may sound like a cop out, but like whether it's my parents or gents like you guys, for Christmas I'm just gonna be offering cash it out on your convenience, but it's on me. We're gonna go eat somewhere good.
I do that all the time.
That works.
When I go back home, I have my spots that I want to visit.
Right.
But Mom won't stop. Like, let me make you something. And I'm like, man, I know how to make this. I can make it back home.
That's like our biggest joy, isn't it?
All she wants to do is make it. Stupid Dan.
Sorry, I know. It's right. It's home, doesn't it? It's home because you don't realize it, like how much joy they get out of it. It's not just a mom thing. Like there's a real.
Maybe I'll do one off.
There's a real thing there. Yeah. You gotta mix it in.
So I'm seeing here birthdays today. Mauro Ranallo.
It's right.
I saw Eric Nixick post about Brad Tavares. It's his birthday too.
Yes,
sir.
He
said hi. I ran into him at the supermarket two nights ago.
All right. And then Chapman Can Do. Happy birthday to that individual.
Shamakar Sandhu.
Oh, the Shamakar.
Sorry. Okay. I actually typed his yeah.
Well, and here's the thing: I was going to say I don't think I remember that listener because I
don't know why, but
it's not a relative or friend.
Shamakar Sandhu.
You did?
Yeah.
So Chapman Can Do.
Tony Ferguson isn't crazy.
Tony Ferguson. I saw it right here. You know what? It's on my Facebook.
Tony Ferguson coined that, George. He
calls him Chapman Can Do.
Yeah. He went to call him out. He's like, Chapman Can Do over there. It's just like a throwaway thing. So shout out to Shamakar. We love him, but I had to
Randy called me Goes, G-O-E-S, the other day.
Randy Couture.
Yeah, that one stung.
Like what, Goze Aldo?
Goze.
Man, all right.
Yes.
So I guess since we're on this topic, I want our audience to know, we'll be here next Monday, which is the 20. Sorry. We'll be off next Monday and Tuesday, the 24th and the 25th, and we'll be back Wednesday through Friday, which is the 26th through the 28th. So we'll have a few days leading in to UFC 232. We'll come back on the 31st and do a show to react to UFC 232. We'll be off January 1st, which is New Year's Day, and then back again Wednesday through Friday. So we have 1 day off in 2 weeks and 2 days off next week. Calls? Let's do it.
Let's go to Hal in Chicago.
What's up, Hal? How you doing?
Hello.
Hi. Hey, what's up, Hal?
I didn't mean to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, but for Christmas, Dan Tom would like to allow you guys to cook him dinner and treat him to some of your favorite whiskeys. You know, that kind of guy.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Hal. Thanks, man. Hey, I was thinking about you at Bellator Hawaii. You know who got seated in front of me at one point? I think it was Friday's show for the Troop show, but
the GOAT.
The GOAT himself. That's right. I was just like, and the messed up part is when the first thing came out, I was like, Hal! And thankfully I didn't say that to him, but yeah.
Who was it?
Hoist Gracie.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, the GOAT. Yep, the GOAT himself.
The greatest of all time, best analyst. You know, did you ask him about the fight? And he's like, man, you know Machida, he got good stand-up. But the other guy who don't even know who he is, he got good wrestling. Should be a good fight.
Yeah. The perfect. I was actually reading his facial expressions, Hal, because I'm sure, as you know, as an impressionist, it's all about the facial expressions. And Hoist has mainly like a 2 range, so he comes in with wearing 1, right? He has the stoic, like almost like that BJ Penn gif from the Tough series where he was on Frankie and it's showing BJ doing the nod, like okay. Like Hoist kind of has that respect, like almost like a nod going on, not to show too much emotion, like a And
I saw him post-fight with Neiman Gracie and Henzo. It looked like they had a celebration.
Then he has the almost not the Dan Tom creepy head nod, but he does the head nod where he's like, yeah, and that's when the jiu-jitsu. That's when the jiu-jitsu. It's similar, yeah.
I finally saw that fight, by the way.
The same one he did.
Kudos to Neiman Gracie, man. That was a big win. I saw it. I went back on DAZN.
That was a fun one.
Hey, how about John Morgan? He got a little Christmas present from USA Today. It was funny to me. I'm like, whoa, wait, Mr. UFC, Mr. John Morgan, I got to go to all the UFCs because I got to keep up relations. And he was like, later, I'm going to Hawaii for the Bellator. Suddenly, Morgan wants to come to Bellator. Yeah,
that one was geographical, I guess, because Milwaukee was covered by Matt Erickson, who lives in Chicago. Your neck of the woods, what's that, 90-minute drive? So, yeah. But who wouldn't sign up for the Hawaii card? That's for sure.
Yeah, poor Dan Tom having to bother his grandma for food because Morgan had all the per diems locked up. So, you know, that's why.
Hey, man, I was getting free stay, man. I wasn't complaining.
Yeah. That Milwaukee card, sad to say, I didn't even go, man. And I was going to go. I almost was going to go by myself and be like Dante Morgan and just, you know, he likes to go to concerts on his own because he's secure like that. I was going to go to UFC by myself, but I don't know. It was just, you know, he kind of bummed out. And they messed up with the ticket prices, man. They wanted $150 for, like, any decent seat, which for UFC on Fox, I mean, they got greedy. You know, this new group, WMA, WBA, whatever they're called, they're I don't know, man. They wanted a lot of money for that, and they messed up, you know. And none of the Chicago Junkies went. Obviously, you know, shout out to my man Sam. We miss you. But yeah, man, it was. I think they overpriced it, you know. But it was a great card.
Yeah, for sure. That sucks that they overpriced it because I thought you could usually count on the big Fox cards to be quality cards on the level almost sometimes of a pay-per-view, but yet the price point was you would catch a break.
It's a black mark on the WNBA.
And they were hounding.
Yeah.
They were hounding me too. They were sweating me for tickets. They kept emailing me. Hey Hal, they were calling me. Hey Hal, just you know, they're probably like, hey Mush, I can't believe you're not going. What happened? And so
they called you.
But there you go, and they called me.
Did you answer them and give them feedback?
I did not. I just let it go to voicemail.
I was gonna say that was your chance to go. Hey, you guys got greedy.
Yeah. But I was too busy trying to research good bets. You know what I mean? You know how I like to do that.
Right.
And hopefully I'm going to try to mush John Jones. He's going down.
All right.
So look for that. All right, guys. Merry Christmas.
You
Love
too.
you guys, and take care.
Merry Christmas. All right, we'll see you. Guys, did you see the rumor about Chris Cyborg and an accident she had and how she might be out of the fight?
No.
No. When did that rumor hit?
Well, I'll tell you something during the break here. Let me write it down so I don't forget.
Well, all I was going to say was she put out 46 minutes ago, now 49. Are you going to Las Vegas? Join Team Cyborg as part of our promo street team, blah, blah. And I thought I also saw a post-fight party that she was promoting. So I'm thinking that Twitter rumor might be false. But apparently she was in a shopping cart and jumped out of it and took a nasty fall. And so people ran with that on Twitter saying, oh, no.
Oh.
I kind of was getting notifications. I was like, well, until I see it on Junkie, I don't believe anything. And I haven't seen it on Junkie, which is good. But then I went back to Twitter right now just to make sure, and I don't see anything that tells me anything definitive. So I want to be careful in how I phrase this, other than I think I just saw people chatting about it, but it looks like it's a rumor that's unsubstantiated. Hell, they just had the press conference yesterday, and
man, I don't know. People aren't passing that Goodfellas test, man. I'll tell you this much. Conor McGregor came into my Whole Foods back in the day before he was fighting a man named Chan Bendez at UFC 189. Every time he came in, he kept riding the little cart thing, the automated cart. Yeah, and I was like, ooh, if I was a tinfoil hat guy, I could be fucking Snapchatting him. Oh, look, he's probably injured. He probably hurt his knee leading into the fight. Whoa, do. I'm not gonna do that. That's probably he's probably just because he was playing it off like, and he was smart. He would have his friend grab the other one, and they would act like they were playing around and like, oh, he's using his celebrity card to be a hooligan, but really he wasn't a jerk. I think he was just doing it as cover to make it look like they were messing around. Right. But he needed to get groceries. Didn't want to show that he was really hurt. Sure enough, ends up hurting his knee. Oh wow, that's a stunt. That's like
I'm not even sure that was. I wasn't even sure that was her. That's the fall though.
Ooh, yeah, that's not her.
So people were posting that. It's not her?
It doesn't look like her.
That's not her.
Oh, wait.
Nope. That's not her.
Well, is that a tattoo right there? Would that be a clear?
I'll tell you.
When she stands up, I mean, she is a.
The facial structure here looks different. And
is there a limit
looks way too
on those rascal scooters? How fast they can go at Whole Foods? Do you know?
Dude, one of them went pretty fast. Like it not went fast, but like it would boom. Like I've seen some kids get earmuffs fucked up. Little kids get, it's just kind of funny on church, like jumping on the thing and like not realizing it goes and like it jolts forward and like.
This morning, I told Danny we were talking about something. I had to stop right in the middle. I go, dude, you won't believe what I just saw. I saw somebody in a rascal scooter come right through here, not even look. I mean, it was fast. He had two crutches on the back, and he just merged right into here without looking. Almost like the guy in Go when he goes out in the street like that. As ridiculous as that. I couldn't believe how fast that thing was moving.
What trips me out are the standing ones now. Like, I was driving through my old neighborhood. I'm like, oh, man, I remember growing up. Yeah, I remember growing up in this neighborhood like 20 years ago. And there's some kid, like, on his smartphone on, like, a standing Segway, like, floating, like the old Chinese character from Big Trouble in Little China, like, floating across the hallway. I'm like, have I become that old man? Is this that thing in the future where, like, people are going to be floating and I'm going to be like, why are things changing? And, like, that's already happened.
Yeah. For sure. Hey, a couple things to announce. Gegard Mousasi is out of his fight.
I read that.
Jr.
Yeah.
At Bellator 214, sorry, in Los Angeles, California. Same one as Fedor versus Brian Bader, yeah. Gregor Gillespie versus Yancy Medeiros in Brooklyn. And recently, minutes ago, Holly Holm versus Aspen Ladd at UFC 235 here in Las Vegas, the pay-per-view. So that's pretty good for that division. I guess Holly Holm returning to
35.
Yeah, bantamweight. I want to take the break on time this time. Let's do the bigger break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to Justin Willis. He's ready to go. He'll be joining us in about 6-7 minutes. So stay tuned. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show on Fight Nation Channel 93.
I get paid to say things in this cool voice, and they get paid to be lame. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Get the radio channel numbers and a link to listen to your favorite NFL, college basketball, NBA, or NHL team. Send right to your smart device. Just go to SiriusXM.com/sports today and click Add to My Calendar. Earlier, we talked to Rocco, a.k.a. Tony Martin, who got a win in Adelaide, Australia, when he defeated Jake Matthews. Well, later on in the card, in the featured bout, which is the third one from the top, Justin Willis defeated Mark Hunt via unanimous decision. Kind of set the tone there for the three big Australian names that went down. They went 0 for 3 at home, so that one must have stung those guys. Justin Willis took out Mark Hunt, Mauricio Hua took out Tyson Pedro, and then Junior Dos Santos took out Tai Tuivasa. Joining us now on the hotline is big, pretty Justin Willis. What's up, Justin? How you doing?
Hey, don't say what's up to me. All y'all, mostly, no, you was with me. The other two, they bet against me. We ain't friends no more.
Oh, man, that's harsh.
I bet against me, and it's okay. Because I hope I want somebody else the money. Fuck y'all.
Nah, here's what happened. We wanted to motivate you because we thought you would look at that and then you would go, oh, you know what? I'm gonna prove these fools wrong. So really what we were doing was some Mr. Miyagi shit behind your back.
No. My wife hit me up after the fight. And she was like, fuck those guys.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's rough. Hey, you know.
You guys okay. I'm over it. She over it. We can move forward now.
For sure. Well, I was planning on taking my medicine anyways, Justin, because you, regardless of that fact, before I said it on the show, and still my favorite interview that we've had on this show in studio, fighter-wise, man. So hopefully, I'm glad we can move past that. And I will say in my defense, though, I didn't like picking against you. I didn't say you were going to get knocked out. I thought it was going to be a crafty veteran decision, but I did say that. I marked you as a future world champion. It might have been one of those learning bumps, but, man, you look like you made the veteran learn, and that was super impressive to me, man. So hats off to you, and medicine taken. No problem, sir.
George, what's your defense?
Hey, appreciate it, brother.
I don't have a defense. I took him.
Huh? Oh, that's right. Right. So
George was on the right side of it.
I'm going to use something that our father taught us.
Okay.
I'm going to use this defense. Hey, Justin, sometimes I'm dumb, huh?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's a good one.
Hey, your apologies are accepted. I love you guys.
Cool.
Hey, man, listen, you made it look easy. Like, I picked you to win, but I thought you were going to be in for a tough fight. Like, I thought he was going to put some hands, and I thought this fight could be contested. But, wow, you kind of won this in a landslide. And I know you're not shocked about it because you've been telling us, you're something special in this division, and it's kind of your time. But either way, let me tell you, anybody that picked Big Pretty, we just didn't think it was going to look that easy. That's very impressive, Justin, that performance you put against one of the top guys in the world.
Can we change up the words? Can we change up the words from easy to pretty?
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay, so I need to repeat that statement for me one more time. You would think I was going to make it look what?
You made it look very pretty out there.
There you go, baby.
The jab was slick. Your counters were slick. Your footwork was slick. Your head. I mean, you kind of almost got into his head early on, and you really shook him up. Did you feel that as well? That just in the first round alone, that you had not only won the round, but pretty much kind of dictated that you were going to win the fight at that point.
The first round, I knew it would be a close round. Because what people don't realize is I'm a different type of fighter when it comes to this. My fighting IQ, we already talked about this. I know it's off the charts. I know it is. I know there's no comparisons. So and now I'm just getting more and more comfortable inside of the octagon. That's it. That's all. That's what's going on. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing a person actually become at home and at peace in there. And there's a flow now. I know you guys will never call me. Because I'm brown, but you never say that I'm like a Bruce Lee type mindset type of guy or whoever else out there, because they just don't do that for people who look like me usually. But probably when I pass away or I'm old and I can't fight no more, you're gonna say he was one of the greatest to do it. Mark my words.
Hey, I argue that. The way you made Mark Hunt look, if it's gonna be like that pretty, then yeah, you're right. A lot of us will be saying that. Mark Hunt's lost other fights before, but he's been competitive in those, and he wasn't here. Now, even prior to this, with everything I guess that was happening, backstage or on fight week, do you feel like you were getting momentum your way there in the mental game even before you guys stepped into the octagon?
Man, I'm really honest and straightforward about this. It's one of those things where this is war. To me, this is war. If you're in this division, you're not on my team. This is war, man. Like literally war. And people realize I'm the best at that. People can try, but they always get lost in the sauce. So it's one of those things where after the fight, before the fight, during the fight, it's war. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? After the fight, after you take your L, then I can give you a hug, and we're at peace until the next time we have to go to war. So, I think that people are just realizing that, this is something I've been doing since I've been a little boy. So, like, if motherfuckers are just learning this shit now, or trying this shit now, or just been trying it, I've been doing this. This is how I had to overcome my situation. Fighting and war tactics. That's it.
Right.
That's it. And intellect. That's how I got to where I am today. God made me for this moment. And I don't know if you guys deal with spirituality too much, but I'm one of his warriors. And I'm not just a warrior, I'm a general.
There you go. All right. Now, what got things heated so much that it spilled over to that face-off you guys had? And then what happened backstage? Like, how did we get to that point?
Confidence is a hell of a thing. Because, people who, confidence is one hell of a thing. It intimidates some people. And some people it doesn't who are also, confident. Sometimes, I don't know, honestly. I've been trying to deduce it in my head to kind of make sense of it. But it's one of those things where I didn't really give him that treatment that he was expecting. Mm-hmm. I'm all respectful. If you check out that interview, I wasn't the one who talked first. He did.
Yeah. Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I went in there and it's war, man. I don't want to go into it too much, but it's just war, man. That's it. That's all. And we go in there, and I'm ready to lay my life down. So you got to be ready too.
Right. Okay. So I'll tell you what. I'll save my last question for the end. Let me turn it over to the guys here. All right, Goes. What do you have for Big Pretty?
Justin, how does it feel in relation to getting wins over kind of like young up-and-coming guys versus getting a win over a guy like Mark Hunt, a legend of the sport? What's the difference there for you? Is it the same?
Every fight by fight, it's really, really important to me, right? Because, I'm really, really focused on my legacy because I came from not having legacy. You know what I mean? I come from a place in a community where legacies aren't really built. So, legacy is really, really important to me. So these guys, I don't care if they're a legend. I don't care if they're a newcomer. I don't care if they're – I don't care. It's just one of those things. The next guy in front of me, he got to get it. And by any means necessary. So if I got to float like a butterfly thing, like a bee, I got to do that. If I got to go in there and knock him out, I got to do that. If I go in there and wrestle him, I got to do that. If I go in there and submit him, I got to do that. Whatever I have to do to get my hand raised will be done.
Gotcha. Now, early on in a fighter's career, especially in the UFC, we'll say 2018, maybe the UFC said, this is what we'd like you to do, this is what we have in store for you. But you had a good 2018 where I feel like maybe 2019, you're the guy that could say, this is what I would like for 2019. Can you kind of forecast what that would be if they said, Big Pretty, what you want this year?
Man, number one is, I'm like that 2018, 2017, 2016, up until back to 87. I've always been calling my own shots. At the end of the day, you come from the womb alone and you go to the tomb alone. So, I'm one of those people where I really only focus on myself and I call my own shots. But so 2019, I'm telling you, it's time for the championship. I told you guys that in the office. So by the end of the year, I need to be the #1 contender or the champion. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what. And then after I become the champion, there needs to be a super heavyweight division built, and I will be the champion of that as well.
Wow, that's some forecasting there.
Super heavyweight, huh?
Unfortunately, Big Pretty, you're not the #1 contender right now. So do you want to fight the #1 contender? Like if
2019.
Oh, 2019. I got you.
He's the prettiest contender right now.
He's the prettiest contender for sure. All right, Dan, take it from here. What do you have for our Big Pretty?
Hey, speaking of that note earlier, as far as language and being pretty and whatnot, I agree with that. I will co-sign that, and I also like, and you've alluded it, before on interviews, as far as kind of the language on a bigger terms. Like for example, we always say we're going up to the Hamptons, but we're going down to South Central. There's these weird little things that we have, and sports has their own. You get what I'm saying there, Big Pretty?
Yes.
Like we never say, "Oh, I'm going down to the Hamptons. Watch out down there." Like you don't hear that. You don't even hear the word "down." It comes down to weird little things, and I know you spot these things out yourself.
Yes.
Well,
that's called like psychological programming.
Yep.
That's one of the old tactics. But yes, it's messed up. Yeah.
But I love your programming, though, to continue on from that, because like you said, as far as war and your experiences, which you thankfully shared with us here on the show, but what I love about that is the IQ part. You're still able to keep the fight IQ in there, and that's what's more impressive to me. Fighters win, fighters lose. We're right on picks, we're wrong on picks. That's all fine. That's going to happen in the sport. What impresses me is the things you showed, the fight IQ, and you showed that not only can you go to war and keep that mindset, but as soon as it was over, I really love this move, man. You gave Mark Hunt his spot. You knew it was his hometown. He had whatever he had going on. You already got what you came for, and your goal was accomplished. And you still gave the veteran respect after vettering the veteran. I dare say in the fight. That was really impressive, man.
Yeah, no disrespect to Mark Hunt. I've heard some interviews of him disrespecting me after that fight, kind of saying that, it's one of those things where I tried to disrespect these guys. But what I will say is it was like a flawless victory, no matter what people say, And at the end of that fight, there was nothing more that needed to be said by me. I showed it all.
Look at you. You're a fucking poet, man. The womb and the tomb, and he's right. It was flawless. There wasn't anything he needed to add to it. So this guy doesn't stop impressing me here with his mindset. I like that, Big Pretty.
Yep.
All right. Tai Tuivasa, he's coming off a loss, but he wants some. Is he now on your radar, or do you prefer somebody coming off a win like a Junior Dos Santos?
Wait, who?
Do you prefer someone coming off a win like a Junior Dos Santos, or do you want to stay with the bad blood? The thing going on with Tai Tuivasa. He obviously wants to.
Who's that?
The guy that lost to Junior Dos Santos.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you don't know who Junior is? Okay, Junior's the former.
I don't know. I know Junior. Junior's the winner.
All right, so I guess Tai Tuivasa is not getting that fight.
Hey, I would say this. He got some work to do. Number one is he can't wrestle. Okay, that is, I'm talking about not umpteenth. That he needs to get in that drawing board. He needs to build himself up. Right now, he's just fighting me out of pride. And if he fights me out of pride, he's going to get embarrassed. And I really have somebody a little more on my level right now. So I need to reach more up to the top 5, and I need to fight somebody in the top 5. I'm thinking somebody like, let's say Curtis Blades. He's free. I'll see what's up in April.
Okay, I like that. I like that matchmaking right there.
I'd say April. I'm willing to fight April. Curtis Blades, Volkov. You guys know any more free people?
No, those are some solid names right there. Now, we're greedy. We want to see you fight in person. There's no way you can make the March card, the pay-per-view here in Vegas in March? Or is that too early?
No, right now, so this is my, I won't give away too many secrets, but I would say like this, brick by brick, It's one of those things where, my turnaround is going to start getting shorter and shorter. But, yeah, brick by brick. I don't want to say too much about that. But it's one of those things where, April is going to be my fight month. And it needs to be here in the United States of America.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things. I don't know the cards yet, but April is my month.
Okay. What about...
It needs to be a headline or a co-headline, huh?
Did you hear from any of the top brass about your performance? Because like you said, it was flawless, and it was against a very respected stand-up fighter. You beat him at his own game. Is it just the fans and the media fawning, or have you heard anything from any of the matchmakers or Dana White himself in terms of...
I'll say it like this. Listen, man, I'm a guy who is very independent. I am, when it comes to people who are greatly gifted, who are independent, who think independently, a lot of times, and I'm not trying to start no beef, and I don't want no beef when it comes to the brass, not with the people you work with. But what I'll say is like this. When you have a mindset and you're as strong-willed as I am, a lot of times they don't want to give you compliments and tell you do good because they think it'll tickle your fancy. And then they probably think I'm an ego man. You get what I'm saying? They haven't really taken time to understand me yet.
Right.
Not like that. So, and I think that when that moment is going to come, inevitably, whether they want it or not, they're going to have to sit down in the room with me. Right? And so it's one of those things where, they got to respect it because they ain't changing shit.
Big Pretty, you're playing chess while the rest of us are playing checkers, huh?
You feel me? So, it's one of those things where we got to, we all got to work together, man. And so I think sooner or later, and they probably listen to this, and it's okay. Sooner or later, we got to get in the room together, sit down and hash out some business. We got to get on the same page because, the tides will come soon. And I'd rather it be ironed out now than them rushing and then me saying no to a whole bunch of shit later.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly, I do. Let me ask you one question here. If I was one of the brass, I would say, undoubtedly your skills are legit, and I love your mindset towards the game. You have a decorated win now on Mark Hunt on top of the win streak that you've established in the UFC. But I want to ask you, what would make you special as a world champion? Like, how do you think your world title run is going to be defined? Your legacy? Have you forecasted that?
I'm a Rubik's Cube. I'm one of those guys where I'm one of those guys where I know what I possess. And I know I'm humble enough to know what I need to get better at. And I think that really rubs people the wrong way because I don't really need a pat on the back. I don't need pushes along. I don't need to be told to work harder. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out a way.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that intimidates people who want to control. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm usually not the guy that people who have that type of mindset, that feeder type of mindset, really enjoy liking to being around, and that's the majority of people, especially in this game. I'm not going to give specifics on different roles and shit like that, but I'm just saying this is what I've noticed from a lot of people in this game.
Right.
So a person like me, I kind of stand out and stand above, and so I'm the one that's not really approached until I'm already at the top of the mountain type thing, and then they have to come in a whole different way. They have to come, with their head down and shit. I don't want nobody like that. I want to work with people. I know I have a strong mindset, but work with me, and I'll never work against you.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah, I'm going in reverse in terms of the heavyweight division, and the heavyweight division is kind of miss somebody that has a little bit of your mindset. If we go back, Kane's very, he's a beast, man.
Stoic though.
Very stoic,
right?
Brock Lesnar was just one guy that was just unavailable. Like, you could count on him to sell you the 1 million pay-per-views, but that's it. He would go back to his ranch. Junior Dos Santos learned English. He was very charismatic, but his reign was very, was very short. Stipe was a guy that had a really nice reign. He had the KOs, but again, I think he was very quick with his answers. He was a little bit dry. Like, the heavyweight division has yet to have that Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? Like somebody, or a Ric Flair, like somebody where you point and go, that's the baddest man on the planet, but that guy also oozes personality. You know what I mean? So you have a lot of that, Big Pretty. So I think you're going to hit a lot of check marks, and I think when it does come time that they have to come correct, whenever it is, I don't know when your next contract situation is going to be, I think you're going to be handsomely paid.
Yeah, you already know. You already know. I want it all. Brand new socks and drawers. Hey, don't skip. I'm skipping the line. Yeah, all that stuff. And that's okay. In our society, they always try to tell people that it's not okay to want more. That it's not okay. It's not okay to ask questions. It's not okay to attain to reach past the stars.
Yeah.
It's not okay to say how great you are. This is not okay. Who said that it's not okay? An insecure motherfucker said that. A motherfucker who is insecure and doesn't want to own what they're good or great at, so that's why they're always mediocre. So my whole message to the world is, if you got something to give to this world, give it, man.
Amen to that.
The world deserves it.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, 2019 in April, we look forward to hearing what the plans will be for that. I think you tossed out some great names, and you're right. Hopefully it's somewhere in North America. Hopefully it's either Vegas-based or somewhere where we can go check it out. Because I really loved your hands. Huh?
Hey, hope is for beggars. We ain't hoping shit. This shit going to be in America. I don't give a fuck what nobody talking about.
There you go.
It's going to be here in America.
All right. Well, there you have it. You know what? They need to redo that SoCal card. So make the fight in SoCal. I want to see Big Pretty throw hands in Anaheim, California.
Cool.
Yeah. There you go. I want. I don't hope. I want. So listen up, UFC.
You will. Somewhere in America, it will happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I've traveled to Scotland, Australia. They haven't really given me the market here in America. And I think that that's on purpose because, you know, with a talent like me and the way I talk, I think that they just have to be sure, and that makes sense business-wise. There you go. I'm telling you they business secrets, right? But they have to be sure, positive, before they give me the keys. Bro, I'm sitting here and I'm asking for them. Let's get it, man.
There you have it. All right, well, we'll end with that. Happy holidays, Big Pretty. Thanks for the time on MMA Junkie Radio, and congratulations on your big win.
Hey, take care of all you junkies out there, and Big Pretty loves you, and go follow me at Big Pretty MMA. Let's get it.
There you have it. All right, thanks for the time.
Oh, yeah.
See you. That is Justin Willis. He's right. You can follow him on Twitter at Big Pretty MMA. And we're going to take our last break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back.
So you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Get in the spirit with the holidays with SiriusXM's full lineup of holiday channels, 15 channels of commercial-free holiday music, including holiday traditions on Channel 3. The contemporary sounds of the season are found on Channel 4. Guess what that one's called, guys?
Contemporary Holiday.
It's called Holiday. Just Holiday. The stars of the Hallmark Channel present their holiday favorites on Hallmark Channel Radio. That's Channel 70. Get our complete holiday lineup at SiriusXM.com/holidays and bring the holiday cheer into your home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers.
I'm going to miss that one.
Big thanks to Big Pretty for his time, along with Siyar Bahadurzada and Tony Martin. We're done with our guests. You want to sneak in a call, it's got to be quick. Otherwise, we're cruising to the finish line. Not only it's at the end of today's show, but also the end of the week. However, we can't leave you without doing the
daily debate.
The daily debate, yeah. Why am I blanking out there, guys? My bad.
Because it's close to the holidays and it's a Friday.
What are you looking forward to the most, by the way? Presents, food,
presents.
Or just family
I ain't gonna
time?
lie. I ain't gonna lie. Presents. Presents are dope.
And Dan Tom?
Food too.
Just the time off and seeing the family that I do see.
Okay.
I'll be good with that.
All right, guys. Here we go. Here's the question for today. Which underdog do you believe has the better chance to win at UFC 232? Hashtag UFC 232. It's simple, but yeah, let's expand on it, on our thoughts. Alexander Gustafsson, who's fighting John Jones for the vacant UFC light heavyweight title. And Amanda Nunes, who's challenging Chris Cyborg for the UFC women's featherweight title. Dan Tom, you go first.
I like this question because I think both contenders here aren't getting enough respect. Amanda Nunes, she could be very well, top pound for pound, right now or amongst them, depending on how you want to argue it. And if she beats, Chris Cyborg, it's going to do a lot for her. I think she's live there than most people think. She's shown to address those cardio issues. Her boxing only continues to look better. She can handle herself on the ground. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. But if I have to pick one, I'm going to say Alexander Gustafsson because we've already seen that match happen. We haven't seen Cyborg face Amanda Nunes, much less fighters, of her caliber or whatnot. Whereas we have seen it with John Jones. We have seen John Jones face Gustafsson, and it was a close fight. I know you John Jones fans out there hate hearing that it was a close fight, but it was. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with John Jones winning. I don't disagree with John Jones being one of the greatest pound for pound fighters to ever compete in our sport. I don't hate on any of those by any means, but we have to acknowledge that it was a close fight, and we have to acknowledge that MMA is full of crazier upsets than this, and we have to acknowledge that sometimes some guys are just a bad stylistic fit. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but if I got to pick between these two, give me Gustafsson for the livelier dog.
And Gustafsson has no doubt that he's going to win that fight. I mean, zero doubt. I love the confidence that he has. It must be something that he's holding on to from that first fight that was about 5 years ago. He almost makes it sound like it's just a matter of time. And he's going against arguably the greatest our sport's ever seen. But yes, the blueprint's there. We've seen Gustafsson have success against John Jones, and John Jones seems a little preoccupied with Daniel Cormier coming off the layoff. This VADA thing can't be good. It's not that he doesn't rise to the occasion. It's not like he's really ever lost a fight. So, maybe I'm just full of hot air and I'm trying to promote it. But that's the thing. He's won rounds from him, right? Where I haven't seen Nunes do anything versus Cyborg because it's the first time they fought. Point. Now, that said, Cyborg's fucking awesome too. So, Jesus. They both have monumental tasks ahead of them, but I just think Gustafsson gives me a blueprint, so I'm going with Gustafsson. How about you guys?
I think there's a difference between an underdog and an upset, okay? An underdog can win a fight. Doesn't necessarily mean it's an upset. These are two fighters that, they may be the toughest people that the other person could face. And like you said, they've already fought in Gustafsson and Jones. That's going to be my pick, Gustafsson. I'm big on him in this fight. I really think not only has he gotten better, but I just think the way the planets have aligned, it's just kind of made for him. This is his moment. I'm going to go with that one, but I'll tell you one thing about that Nunes-Cyborg fight. The longer that clock ticks, the more and more I think things start to switch a little bit in favor.
Of Nunes?
Of Nunes. And so I think both of them have a really great chance, but I'm going to go with Gustafsson.
I wonder what that parlay pays. Just those two.
I'll bet it right now.
Without getting cute and having to look for a third or anything like that. I wonder what Gustafson Nunes pays, like $20. Can you get back 200 on that one or what? I don't know, man. But I can't wait, and we're less than one, or no, a little bit more than a week away, but just barely. So thanks to the 820 votes that came in, and this is how it broke down, guys. Alex Gustafson, the Junkie Nation agreed with us. 66% said, that he's the one that has the better chance to win at UFC 232. 34% said Amanda Nunes, but I still consider that fairly competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still. Oh boy, why did I go down this road? That is still about 250 people that thought Amanda Nunes are going to win, and these are hard. Our listeners and our readers are hardcore fans. They watch it all, so if they're thinking that, the possibility's there. Can't wait for next week. Have you started your breakdowns yet?
No, but they'll be out on MMAjunkie.com for any of you guys that want to check those out next week.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had a chance to start, man. I barely got to my Christmas stuff.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun for you, I think. Just seeing all the how good Nunes is and what she can maybe exploit out of Cyborg, and then revisiting Gustafson versus Jones, and I imagine it's gonna be fun film work because these are like the highest level fighters.
It's all fun film work. It's never. I hope it doesn't sound like it's not. It all is. It's something Brian Stan told us in an interview, and it all stuck with me because he's a guy that really has due diligence to make sure he does his work as well. It's finding the time to watch the footage. I say time off like I'm excited for it. I'm like, time off. The reason why it sounds like that, it's not that I'm not excited for time off. It's my time off is spent doing this, guys. Like. It's again, I'm not complaining. It's the best job in the world, but that's kind of how I break those things down. So yeah, I'll be dedicating hopefully at least a whole day to each of those matchups. Ideally in a perfect world, but then when I do that, I end up behind on the other matchups, and it's too much time to spend on one matchup. And then I have dog and family, and yeah, it's tough.
How's your hand? Better?
Better, yeah. That's one less hurdle. I got through one of the busiest stretches of the MMA schedule with one hand, because the MMA gods and the Dan Tom gods like keeping me on my toes. I'm passing the test so far.
All right. We'll be back on Wednesday.
Did we end the daily debate?
No, we were. Yeah, that's
why.
Okay, yeah,
that's what I was waiting for too. I was waiting for it too.
That's still the daily debate.
Yeah, I was like, that's our daily debate. I was waiting for the cap off from it. Yes,
I know.
That's why I was like,
maybe I didn't mention the 820 votes, but I mentioned the breakdown, and I thought we were done. So
you went down the math road. You asked yourself, you're like, why'd I go down that road? And you I think you distracted yourself there. That's why I was like,
well, for you guys to know,
definitely cutting on my personal.
That would be fun if we had pies and you guys could just pull into my face every time we goofed.
Gustafson's at a plus 225 and Nunes at a plus 200. So if you do want to do that parlay.
See, Gustafson, here's the weird thing, guys. Even though we all answered Gustafson, and he's won rounds from Jones, and he's had Jones in some trouble, the thing about Nunes is if she wins, I think she just catches her. And it's going to be something quick. Whereas Gustafson's going to have to play like a long chess match, and that's so hard to do against John Jones. So it's like the weirdest thing because I answered Gustafson, but I think Nunes is the one that can actually surprise Cyborg and put some hands on her. Now, that said, imagine if Cyborg put some hands on Nunes. Nunes hasn't tasted that type of power either. I realize what I'm saying, what I'm getting into.
Oh, I looked at it differently. I thought maybe she could wear Cyborg down.
Man, I don't know. I think
I really think
Nunes has great reach. Her ability to extend her reach, using her legs and her arms, and she's very accurate. She's very confident with her hands. And then the thing is, once she smells blood, she's one of the best at going after it.
Yeah,
so Cyborg also can't make sure she's caught in that type of position because if she is, she needs to get a hold of Amanda Nunes, wrap her arms around her, put her to the ground, or use head movement, or throw some counter strikes, or whatever. But firefights can be dangerous.
In that Gustafson fight, I really think length has been something that's given John Jones a little bit of problems, and I think he really didn't like that about that first fight. It just threw off his rhythm, and I think I really think he's gotten better since that first fight.
Yeah, they both have. All right, I want to thank all of our guests for the week: Valentina Shevchenko, Antonina Shevchenko, Kayla Harrison, Derek Brunson, Karen Bryant, Liam McGeary, Ray Longo, Ray Sefo, Vinny Magalhaes, Lance Palmer, Lewis Taylor, Tony Martin, Siyar Bahadurzada, and Justin Willis. Big special thanks to the Shevchenko sisters, Sefo, Magalhaes, and Palmer for actually stopping by the studio. Now, next week, I haven't begun anything in regards to booking the show, but I do know that Curtis Millender will be in our studio. And hopefully to follow up on maybe having Karen Bryant stop by as well.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun week. And I want to wish Merry Christmas to all of Junkie Nation. And if some of you are just going to be unavailable through the New Year, then obviously a safe New Year. Otherwise, count on seeing us here on the 26th. We'll recap a little bit of our time off and start previewing the big fight card. Merry Christmas, Danny. You've been kind of quiet, but what are your plans?
I'm going down to the beach where my dad and my grandparents both live in that area and kind of visiting family most of Christmas.
Lucky you. All right. Sounds like some solid plans. Be safe out there, Junkie Nation. Anybody that's traveling. And not only behind the wheel, if you're drinking, Christmas parties or whatever, but just those long roads, people get tired and they get distracted, and smartphones and all that. So we want to leave you all arrive at the same numbers that we leave you with. We're out of here, folks. Keep it locked on MMA Junkie. The writers won't stop writing, that's for sure, and the editors will keep putting stories out. So you can always count on MMA Junkie every day of the week. Have a nice day, a nice weekend. We're champions. Be champions.